What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 247 of Littleroot Lessons. As always, I'm your host, Carter Noble, joined by our fantastic co-host, Carl Wilkin. What's up, dude?
It's another blast from the past episode.
I know. We seem to be having these more and more frequently, and I'm going to have to take it up with my co-host and start docking their pay if they're not going to show up, so...
I mean, I'm okay with it. I get to be back on the podcast, so I don't care. I'll take it. I get to actually do stuff again.
And see, here's the best part is I'm taking next week off, and then
I'm about to say it's just like I don't know. I think I'm on back-to-back episodes this week.
I'm taking next week off, and then I think the following weekend I go back to nights, so I might not be back here then either.
I think I got like I think I have back-to-back ones. I'm not sure about the week after, but I'm pretty sure I'm back-to-back this week and next week.
I think Angelo's going next week, maybe.
I know Jay's got family visiting this weekend.
Yes.
Angelo's traveling for holidays today.
He's intoxicated, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's already far gone. So that's why I'm here today. And then I think next week everyone's coming back from holidays.
Except for me.
Except for you.
I'm taking holiday next weekend.
Yeah. Which I'll be back by Friday. I'll be back Thursday night, so it's just like whatever. Because I gotta work Friday and Saturday.
I'm not going
Sunday.
anywhere. Well, if we're going up to the city, you can have date night on Sunday. So
there you go.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. So what are we doing?
We had Sacramento Regionals.
Sure, I believe that.
What? You don't believe me?
I'm a little checked out today. This weekend has been.
It's been a weekend of all weekends.
It has been a weekend. Is the simplest way to put it. Yeah. I didn't know there was a regional until like Saturday morning when Angela texted me. He's like, "Hey, I'm not going to be there tomorrow night. It's you and Carl." I'm like, "Sure." I don't know what we're talking about. He's like, "Oh, Sacramento."
Sure. To be fair, Sacramento. Since it's in California, it technically starts at noon time for us. So unless you were paying attention, you weren't going to catch the start of it.
Just a heads up, the TCG for day 2 just ended.
Yes.
Like half an hour ago.
So, fun story. I was talking with you. I was like, hey, when do you want to start? You said like, oh, let's aim for 7. I was like, cool. It should be done at 7. Guess what? It ended right at 7. 7:03 VGC was done.
Oh, that actually is kind of perfect that I pushed it back then.
I was about to say, it's like, we can start at 7. We'll be ready to rock and roll by then. Right?
True.
So I've kind of checked out of VGC since Pocket started up because I haven't really had a chance to go play anything. And I'm kind of bored of Reg H because it's all just weather stuff all the time. It feels like.
That's not entirely inaccurate.
I feel like it's just like, hey, look, I have a Sun team. Hey, look, I have a Pelipper.
So I will say that like rain is obviously very good, right? Like there's a reason.
There's a reason why I'm building it for the local that I might go to in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's a reason it continues to like be a top performer in this format, as we'll see today. It is wild to me how consistent it has been in this format with like there's obviously been some adaptations to counteract it with like opposing weather, mainly like I guess you could say like the rise of like Tyranitar has been like a big one, but and then like looking here, I just pulled up like the top teams on Lab Mouse. Torkoal's Sun is like the 3rd highest win rate.
Yeah.
That's light. If I sort by actual win rate, it's a little lower. But if I sort by points, it's up there. But that's mainly because of, I'm assuming, Joe doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, Joe has done a lot of lifting for the Sun team.
But yeah, if you actually sort by like win rate, there's some really interesting things at the top. Pelipper is obviously like the top thing, and like. I think coming into the format, people could anticipate that like Arch Rain was going to be good, and like it has continued to be good.
Yeah.
The simplest thing to say is good mons are good, right? Like
that's the thing here. That's the takeaway. It's just like good mons are good. Like they create really advantageous teams because they have a lot of synergy and a lot of power, and so it's harder for other things to kind of get their way into the format. Um, and then it causes other certain things like Sneasler. Sneasler's become super duper great because it just happens to line up really good into a lot of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get top usage stats that look like this, where it's Sneasler at 41% and Golden Go at 33, Rillaboom at 31, and Incineroar at 30, and you just start to see this. I guess it's homogenizing of the format, where it's just like a lot of the same teams, a lot of the same sixes over and over and over, with very little variance in between them.
Angelo sent the. This is day one usage, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Angelo sent this yesterday. I went. There's not a single thing on here that surprises me.
Double Bear's kind of cool. We hadn't seen Blood Moon.
Double Bear is really cool. I will admit that. But again,
Blood Moon had a great weekend this weekend.
Yes, it did. But yeah, again, I'm not really surprised to see it being good because again, good mons are good. Like
it just took Bear a little bit longer to get caught back up in the format.
I will admit that it coming in, I anticipated like the Bears and like Arch to be like some of the best things in this format, and not really surprised to see that all three of them are in top 12 uses here. But like we've said it once and we'll say it again, the thing that really shocked me in this format is the rise of Sneasler.
Yeah, that's just not something we had. Anybody had that on their radar.
And like it kind of makes sense when you actually think about it. Like fairy types aren't really good.
Yeah, they're like losing Fluttermane going from G to H meant that there was no real true good fairy anymore to like line up into a lot of stuff.
Like I'm looking here at the top 8 team. I don't think there's a single fairy in top 8.
Outside of maybe a potential Terra, no.
Yeah, I'm native fairies.
If you go to 9th, Brian Collins had Hatterene.
Which does that even count?
It's a fairy.
It's an expanding force mon. Like
it's a does fairy it count? Still. Yeah, it still plays Dazzling Gleam.
And then like if you just like I'm digging and there's nothing. There's no fairies in this format.
Most of them have gone away, mostly due to the fact that there's an abundance of fire types and steel types running around.
Yeah, and like now that you have this poison type, that's really absurd too. Like your top two mons here, like kind of body fairy types from existing.
Yeah.
So when there aren't really any good fairies, and the ones that could be playable get destroyed by what's good, then like it's hard to justify trying to play them.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Dire Claw's a busted move.
Dire Claw's a really good move.
How many times do you think we have said that over the course of like this entire format? It's just like you need to be prepared for Dire Claw. I want someone to go through and like figure that out of how many times we've talked about Dire Claw in particular.
It's probably been a lot.
Yes, I'm sure.
I will take 1,000 Sneasler formats over any Urshifu format.
Yes, 100%. Sneasler has counterplay. I am
very much in the camp of I can beat a Sneasler. I know how to play around it. Urshifu, there's no you can't protect in front of it. It's going to hit you.
You can't intimidate it. I hate Urshifu.
Yeah,
it legitimately. Like since its introduction to the game, I don't think there's a single Pokemon I hate more than Urshifu.
Grimmsnarl. You hated Grimmsnarl.
I did, but like it is so far like removed from my thought process at this point. My problem with Grimmsnarl was that it was close team sheets. Like that was my problem with Grimmsnarl. If I knew what it was doing, it wasn't a problem.
I mean, 9 times out of 10 in Sword and Shield, you knew what it was doing. It was Screen, Spirit Break, and then Speed Control. Like that's literally all you had to worry about.
The problem is what Speed Control.
I mean, if you just play a Dark type in front of it, you ain't got to worry about it.
Look. Shut up.
So, but yeah, like just like the big steel types in Golden Go, Archaludon, King Gambit, the poison type in Sneasler, it helps push those fairies down. It lets the dragons thrive, Garchomp, Dragonite. Dragapult for a while was really popular. It's kind of fallen off a little bit as things have gotten bulkier. Hydreigon had an okay showing this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah, absolutely.
2 in top 8, I think. Yeah,
That's looks correct. Yes.
Garchomp had 3 in top 8.
1, 2. I concur. Yes.
And then Dragonite had 2. Is that right?
1, 2. Yep.
So like the dragons are doing great. It's nice to see them come up again.
Do I need to redo my whole rant about fairy types not being good in this format?
No. But yeah, like overall, it's like just being able to see like the Dragonites come back, the Dragonites and the Garchomps and the Hydreigons of the world come back in the format's kind of fun. But yeah, overall, the format has kind of gotten stale though. It's just like, here's rain and like rain in this form. Here's sand with like this stuff. Here's these expanding force teams with this stuff. Like it's the format. The format went from being very expressive and overall unique, I feel like, to more of a, okay, well, this has become the standard 6 for this archetype. You can change around a couple things if you want, but you're playing 5 out of these 6 mons every time. And that's kind of been like the thorn in my side for this format. It's just like you get punished really hard for trying to think outside the box because a lot of the innovation is gone.
Yeah.
It's gone from this format really early.
Yep.
It's become a rotating which archetype's going to be popular, so that archetype's whatever you built for is just going to end up winning. Like, it's just kind of become that. I will say this new like expanding force Sneasler, Talonflame, Ursaluna, Blood Moon stuff is new.
We can just jump right into top teams here if you want to transition to it.
So I'm gonna click on Carson because I want to talk about this team because this is cool. I like this a lot. It's doing something similar to what you were originally doing, except they dropped the second expanding force mon.
Yeah,
they just have better consistency.
Their fire type, like their aggressive fire type here is Talonflame, which conveniently is a Terra Fairy type.
It's fairy in type only. It's not. Does that anyway.
Yeah, it's fairy in spirit. Yeah, I mean, this all makes sense. Like Sneasler plus Indeedee, very good. Unburden is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, this is literally like the throat chop Terra Dark going to blow you up, Sneasler. Mm-hmm. This is a very offensive based Sneasler. I like the Electabuzz, Follow Me, Vital Spirit stuff's really good into a Moongus. Also, being an electric type means you don't have to worry about a ton of weaknesses a lot of the time. You have real good resistances into a lot of the popular stuff too. Ursaluna, Blood Moon. Yeah, I like this Pokemon a lot. I wish we could play Blood Moon all the time in more popular formats, but
having a redirector next to your Blood Moon so you can fire off big Blood Moons and then Hyper Voice and just protect the Queen strategy here with Blood Moon is always like really good. And the fact that we can do Cocaine Bear things here with Talonflame makes me really happy.
Like we get to take advantage of both speeds, right? We have the Trick Room, we have the Tailwind, we can do both and interact that way. So that's a lot of fun.
I will say, I think it was last week. There is a Indeedee mail with Imprison that I docked points from because it didn't have Protect on their set. I really, really just want like Imprison, Trick Room, Protect plus Expanding Force. I don't know how much you need Helping Hand.
For this team where you probably are you're more damage light than you think you are.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. It probably really makes a difference with like just helping out Ensign, picking up KOs randomly.
Helping Ensign and Ursaluna both pick up KOs when they usually shouldn't be is really, really important. Sneasler's going to do what it does regardless. It's going to hit hard.
Yeah, Sneasler doesn't need help, and if it does, then like sure, they're not going to expect it anyway.
Yeah.
Helping Hand gets rid of like an Intimidate essentially off of Sneasler, so
Yeah, like the helping hand is actually really important for this style of the team, where it's got two really good damage dealers in Sneasler and Blood Moon, and then Incineroar and Talonflame kind of need that extra little oomph sometimes because their damage numbers aren't
yeah.
that great. And so
My
you either push it over the top with Blood Moon and Sneasler, or you help Incineroar and Talonflame pick up KOs.
my whole rant originally was that I thought this was an imprisoned Trick Room mon, and I was going to be like, yeah, this is what I like. I like the fact that it has Protect on its Imprison set, and then it's just a moot point because this doesn't have access to Imprison. So
yeah,
can you tell it's late for me?
It's late for all of us, Carter. We're in the same time zone.
Yeah.
It's not like Dro and Jay where they're on the East Coast with you and you're technically an hour behind them.
Yeah, but I also get up like 6 hours before they do, so
that's also true. Let's talk about second place, because Joe's been playing this team.
Hey, Carl, I think I mentioned this to you when I first saw the teams. Did you know Joe Yu's a really good player?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, again, I feel like if you've seen Joe play in one event, you've seen him play pretty much the same exact 6 in every event he's gone to and got on camera. Jump Bluff, Torkoal, Sun Stuff with Typhlosion, Hisui, King Gambit, Garchomp, Dragonite. It's pretty much the same 6 he's been playing.
When was the last time he didn't play this 6? Like at an official tournament?
It was real early in Reg H. Real early.
Yeah, because every Reg H tournament he's been to lately has been this 6.
Yeah. So that's part of what I was getting to when it's like the innovation's gone. It's become a know your team and you can probably just win. But your team still has to do good things. You can't come up with a random 6 and theory craft it. Like your 6 actually has to be good. And if his Torkoal didn't miss 3 overheats in a row in finals,
hold on.
Joe might have won this game.
Hold on.
Match. Yeah.
Like, I heard what you said, but
missed 3 overheats in a row. He hit every sleep powder on his way to finals, but he missed on camera. But he missed 3 overheats in game 3, and that pretty much cost him the game.
It is 90% accurate, right?
Overheat, I believe it is 90. Yeah.
Okay.
And he literally missed 3 in a row.
That's insane. That is absolutely absurd.
If he gets the overheat on the Talonflame, he gets to take it out. He missed one on, I think, like on a Garchomp switching or something. Like it was rough in game 3.
Yeah, that is absolutely wild. I have no words for that.
But other than the Sun stuff, it's like Garchomp, Dragonite, King Gambit, fun stuff. I like this trio a lot. This is fun. The Jump Bluff being able to set very fast Tailwind under Sun is really nice. Plus, having access to Encore and Sleep Powder can really mess with your opponent.
Fast Encore's a hell of a drug, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, Fast Encore is really, really good.
I am definitely a fan of Fast Encore.
The next team is Marcus, and again, it's the
this is the same 6
team.
We talked about.
Literally the same 6. I think this team popped up 3 times in day 2. 1, 2, 3. There was a slight difference in Dylan's, I think. Yeah. Dylan was playing Archaludon over the Incineroar slot, but it's still a very that core is going to be running around for a very long time now, because it's just like, hey, this won, so this is going to be everybody's playing.
Yep.
Akil also in that kind of that same vein of like, hey, here's Sneasler doing stuff. They were the Focus Sash Poison Touch variant, looking to do things with coaching for their Garchomp and their Corviknight and other things like that. This one's it's fine. I like the Corviknight. I like Archaludon. Like I like those 2 together.
I really like Corviknight. I really do. I think it is a mon that has uh, really grown on me, and like specifically this format.
Uh, Tailwind, Roost, Taunt, Brave Bird. I've seen body press sets running around aren't as great, in my opinion. I think the Brave Bird, Tailwind, Roost stuff is better.
I could see that. I can probably get on board with that.
The big thing is this Archaludon is Power Herb. Like, it is not an AV Archaludon. It is. I'm going to get this Electro Shot off, and then I'm going to spam Draco Meteor or Flash Cannon on you.
Which I also think is just fine, right? Like, I think that the Protect version of Arch is fine. I obviously on like Rain, I feel like you don't really need the Protect, and you can just get away with just spamming your Electro Shots, but for the most part, you don't need to spam the move. It is there to just set once and you're fine.
So
So
what's cool about this team is they're looking to abuse the fact that Rain is a popular archetype. They are their teams doesn't line up great into Pelipper specifically, having two weaknesses to flying and one weakness to water and a neutrality to water. Like Pelipper can destroy Amoonguss, Incin, Garchomp, Sneasler, but if you bring the Pelipper, you risk their Archaludon being able to go off and
yep,
can really hurt your team in return. And so the fact that they have Protect versus instead of you versus the Archaludon on the Rain team most likely being Assault Vest, it kind of gives you a leg up and being able to abuse their Rain for like that they set up for you. AV Incineroar, this feels pretty standard. It works so great with the coaching. It works really good with the coaching.
I'm a fan of it here.
The Amoonguss having Sludge Bomb, I think, was super duper important in a lot of Akil's matchups.
It's not something you see anymore.
Yeah, usually that's Pollen Puff. The Sludge Bomb, though, came up critical in a lot of spots. It forced game 3 between him and Joe because he got the Sludge Bomb into Jump Bluff for pretty much free.
Yeah, that would be a ton of damage. Yeah.
And so, like, the Sludge Bomb was actually very important this weekend, I think, versus the Pollen Puff healing. Like, you don't really need the Pollen Puff. It'd be nice next to your Incineroar and maybe your like Garchomp or Archaludon, but you don't. It's not a must-have kind of thing.
Yeah, like looking at that like 6, I could see wanting Pollen Puff, but at the same time, just having that random damage output from an Amoonguss, like it does more damage than most people would anticipate. Like,
I'm looking to see if there's other Sludge Bomb Amoongusses.
I really can't imagine so.
I don't think there is. At least not in day 2 that I found yet. Oh, there's one. Found it.
Okay, and that's in 9th?
Yeah, no, this was 12th.
Okay. That was close.
So there was a second one in the day 2. And so far the Amoongusses have been pretty split. Speaking of pretty split, this one Palafin made a day 2 and made a top 8 at a regional.
You remember at the beginning of this format where I know I was like preaching that Palafin was going to come back and be the all-star it once was. And like, man, I could not have been more wrong about like where I thought this format was going.
You know what Palafin's not good into?
Basically everything going on in this
format.
It's really good next to Pelipper, and that's really where it ends. Like,
the problem is like, oh, you're good next to Pelipper. Well, the Pelipper is setting up their Archaludon on the other side of the field, and you just die to Archaludon.
Yep. You just don't do anything else. Like, looking at this team, the only thing you're hitting for like any kind of effective damage is an Incineroar, right? Like, the other 5 like are either resisted or neutral hits. Like, Goldie doesn't really care. It's bulky enough that it can take those.
Yeah, Palafin overall. I believe the Palafin was more for like specific matchups. Because the matchup I got to see of top 8 with David Hunter's team on it, they did not bring Palafin that I got to see. So it's definitely more of a. It feels like more of a matchup dependent placement. Maybe into like the Dondozo matchup, just because you have access to Haze, things of that nature. But this was the Hydreigon, the Specs Hydreigon plus the Life Orb Golden Go. You were very specially heavy, and that kind of came back to bite them a little bit. I know in his top 8 match there was some issues with his Mons just not lining up great into his opponents sometimes.
Which I could see.
So this team is cool though.
Yeah.
Seeing Palafin in top 8 again is kind of neat.
It is a blip on the map of like what it once was, but
yeah,
man, I always love. I say that. I'm pretty sure if you go back to like Reg B, you can find clips of me like complaining.
Oh yeah, probably
adamantly about how terrible like it is to play against Palafin, and here I am just like, man, that's so cool. I love it.
Eric Schrader, we have Sand back again. This one should fit your fancy quite well, Carter. You should know what 4 of these Pokemon are doing.
I know what all 6 of these mons are doing. This is almost an exact 6 I tested at one point. I tested all 6 of these mons for Louisville.
you're literally like these. This is literally 4 of outside of the different setup for the maushold. This is like 4 of your 6 from Louisville, literally.
Yeah, it's 4 of the 6, and the other 2 I tested with maushold 8. Like
yeah. Indeedee, Choice Scarf, Expanding Force, Terra Blast, Trick, Dazzling Gleam, pretty standard stuff. Psychic Seed, Unburdened Sneasler, Harrow Dark, Throat Chop, cool. Annihilate, Terra Dragon is interesting.
It gives you a bunch of resistances.
Yeah, I guess it's just like, man, Will-O-Wisp is such a freaking feel bad though.
Which you're not lefties. Which if you're so, in my opinion, on these sand teams, I really like lefties, or I really like Goggles on Annihilate. But because you have Goggles on Maushold, like I also really like that because you can't afford to be Sash on this team because you just lose your Sash immediately next to Tyranitar.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea of lefties Annihilate because then inside of sand, you're not taking all this extra chip every turn, and outside of sand, you have your passive recovery. Mm-hmm. So like, I was thinking you could be Lum, but I don't think you can afford to be Lum on this team because you need the recovery. And
yeah, you need your Annihilate to be able to live more than 1 or 2 hits, right? Even with the Friend Guard Maushold next to you, you'll still take a lot from a super effective hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you really need to get a bulk up plus a Drain Punch off to make like Ape start going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, that's not always enough. Sometimes Drain Punch just into like certain mons, Drain Punch isn't enough, so you need 2, if not 3, and at that point, your Rage Fist is going to be more powerful. So,
yep.
Yeah, I really like these 6. I like I said, this is something
this feels closer to a 2-2-2 style thing than an actual
which is exactly what it is, right? Like, I mean, these 6 are very.
The problem is like more traditional 2-2-2s, like the Dondozo 2-2-2s. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not usually not trying to synergize with other parts of your team, and it's kind of okay here doing that stuff, but just like extra drill Tyranitar does not help the rest of your team.
That's the thing. Is like Excadrill, T-Tar, like you don't really want to lead either of them really next to anything else here. Like Mouse plus T-Tar is probably fine because then it gives you just like all this extra bulk on your T-Tar, but you need to be able to keep Sand up long enough to then have your Excadrill in the back be able to do something.
Yeah.
So like it's a really complicated game. And that was kind of the reason I didn't move forward in like testing something like this. Is it just felt kind of incohesive. It like you said, it just didn't feel like it all meshed together as well as you wanted it to.
Yeah, like most of the 2-2-2 style stuff, there's a little bit of overlap to where like you can play certain things together in certain pairings and kind of get away with it sometimes. This one is a matter of just like you either lead in DD Sneasler or you lead Annihilate Mouse or you lead Extrail Titar. And then like I said, there's like Tyranitar Mouse, I guess, or like Mouse plus Sneasler maybe.
But even then, you're not getting your unburden boost, so like Sneasler's not going crazy like you want it
Yeah.
to.
Which you don't always need the Unburden on
No,
Sneasler,
you
but it is
don't.
nice.
Most of the time, you are going to be able to naturally outspeed things, and like there are going to be instances where your opponent has a tailwind or whatever, and then you bring in your Ndidi, and you're able to go turbo fast that way. But
Mm-hmm.
I also think that the only form of speed control on this team being like you have your Sand Rush Excadrill and you have your Unburdened Sneasler, and that's really
That's it. Like,
Like
yeah, what happens if they force your Sneasler, or like you get even just like Oko your Sneasler, and
I feel like you're
take
having a real hard time against Trick Room.
yeah,
Like your only Trick Room mon here is really T-Tar,
yeah, like
which
maybe Titar.
sure you can then Terra to like you Terra to get away from an Earth power, but then you get blown up by Blood Moon. So
Yeah. Let's see here. Moving past that one, Kalen Brown. We've got a loaded Dice Garchomp. That's cool. Look at that scale shot. Awesome.
I don't want to talk about it. We can move on.
Citrus Berry, Incineroar, Iron Plate, Golden Go, Safety Goggles, Tailwind, Hydreigon. That's kind of cool. They've got the Terra Fighting P2 that I was a very big fan of when it started popping up.
I think I'd move to Terra Fairy more.
I think it kind of just depends on like what you're playing too.
That is very true. I think in a general sense, I really like Terra Fairy, just because I like being able to hit all of these dragons running around for some kind of decent damage.
That's why you got Ice Beam.
That is also true.
Having ice and fighting coverage covers a lot, honestly.
Well, my thought process is you could drop Ice Beam then for like Thunderbolt, and then have Fairy plus Electric, which is probably
it's
neutral to
fine.
most things, right? You
Um,
struggle against exactly opposing a Moongus that way?
Like you struggle against opposing Amoongus, you
That's like the big one that comes to mind.
yeah, Amoongus is a big one. You aren't great into Golden Go then.
Like, yeah, you have T-Bolt as like your only answer. But like I mean here your answer is Ice Beam, so I mean that's still a resisted hit too.
Yeah, it's just like you can eventually stall out the Make It Rains, right?
Eventually, maybe, yeah.
Like if you get them in a situation where they're half like Make It Rain only has 5 PP. Like
Sometimes
it's
good
like
players will have 8.
eight's the max you're gonna see out of somebody. So if you could somehow out recover or outgain a Golden Go, like it's gonna be fine probably.
Yep.
I really do like the scale shot Garchomp though.
I
like
hate
this
it,
a lot.
man.
I
I
love
hate
it.
it so much. It is because it traumatized me. Like that's the only reason I don't like it.
That's the one I'm surprised I don't see scale shot on more. Like you see it on Dragonite and that's cool, but I
Getting
love
that
to see it
speed
on
boost
Garchomp.
on your Garchomp is so good. You're able to just outspeed so much at that point.
Yeah.
And like if you ever get 2 of them off, you're just like you're in go mode, right? You're just gonna go hard.
The last top 8 team, Aaron Brock. This is another interesting take on the Archaludon rain stuff, except we have Dragonite and Ursaluna, like regular Ursaluna.
This is something I've seen quite a bit in testing for Louisville. This team composition was the version of Rain I did not want to see, because Sinistra completely changes how you play the matchup.
Oh yeah,
Which
Sinistra is a huge change swap for Rain in general.
Being able to just have this mon that like can switch in for your Pelipper and take a hit there, and then you're just able to stall out anything you're threatened next to, like archaludon or ursaluna. You're able to just like sit in front of it, ignore everything they have going on, and just have your one threat just live hits, get healed up every turn, and get hit really hard. Like that's all you need from your Sinistra is just protect the queen.
Yeah.
Whichever version of the queen you're playing that day, protect her.
I will say this Dragonite is not my favorite type of scale shot Dragonite.
Single attack scale shot, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, I think if you were playing like other attacks with it where you could abuse like the speed buff you're getting is really cool, but like
my first thought is
Tailwind.
Man, I really want E-Speed here, and then I realized that just doesn't play with scale shot. You just don't need it.
Yeah, you don't really care about the E-Speed. It's more of just like the Ice Spinner or the Stomping Tantrums or things like that.
Which I really like Ice Spinner on Dragonite. Being able to deal with like Indeedee is something that is starting to pop up a lot here lately. I mean, we've talked about what 3 of them in top 8 so far, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
1, 2, yeah, 3 in top 8, and like that's not even something we really commented on. It's just like how good Indeedee did this weekend.
Yeah,
like being able to take away the terrain against an opposing Indeedee means that you're no longer getting hit by the spread move from Expanding Force, which coincidentally
that's a big deal.
You already have game against it because you have Wide Guard on your Pelipper too.
Yeah,
but again, the thing about Expanding Force versus Wide Guard, you just don't click it. You just never.
That's why
you just never get got.
That's why the Scarf ones just play like Terra Blast or Psychic or whatever.
Never give them an opportunity to have a free turn, and you're fine.
Yeah.
If they want to spend a turn clicking Wide Guard, punish them by killing their Pelipper.
Terra Bug Archaludon's really cool. I'm glad to see that that's popping up. That was something I've been championing for a while.
That is something that is like early Arch tech.
Yeah, and it's the fact that it's still sticking around is awesome.
I really like Snarl Arch. That is not something we have seen a ton of here lately, and I am a big fan of it.
The Snarl variants usually pop up when they don't want to play the dragon move anymore.
Which, honestly, fine.
Yeah, like you're losing points for Draco Meteor, and you're becoming a much more click the Electro Shot button type of Pokemon.
Unironically, Snarl's pretty good in the mirror.
Yeah, like Snarl is a big deal.
They drop a Draco on you, you live, and then you Snarl them, and now like you're gonna live their follow-up Draco again.
Then the thing is then they switch to Body Press, and they're just hitting with that.
And that's when you tear a Bug, so now you're resistant.
That's why the Bug Tear is so important, actually, because being resistant to Bug to a ground and fighting through being a Bug type is huge. What else do we have in here?
We can talk about the 9th place team. Talking about a little bit of hard trick room here. I know we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, this is pretty much just hard TR. You've got the Sharpness Gallade. I'm a big fan of that. I love that. Choice Specs Torkoal, Expanding Force Hatterene, Technician Pop Bomb Maushold looking to pick up KOs left and right. Ursaluna with the Guts and Flame Orb just doing its thing. Like this is about as standard a Trick Room team as you can get.
So I'm just quickly looking through some other teams here. Not to like dismiss this one too quickly, but I mean I feel like this is just pretty much
like there's not a whole lot to talk about. We've seen this one a dozen times across multiple formats.
Pengi brought Garg back.
Oh boy.
40th place. Which we talked about last week. He brought it to LAIC as well.
Garganackle, yes.
Garg Solo Dozo.
I love it. This is my team. This is my type of team.
Carl, do you know what Moringa Berry does without looking it up?
Oh goodness.
We had to look this one up last week.
I think Moringa is it the special defense boost?
That sounds correct, yes. Something special attack get boost or something.
Moringa. It's special defense by one stage when hit by a special move.
Ah, man, we're good.
I'm so good. I'm good at this game.
I'll take credit for that one. I said, yeah, that was right.
I'm good at this game. Look at that. But yeah, Moringa Berry Garganacl is that's super freaking cool.
Did you see Pangy's tweet about the team?
Yes, I did. That's why I knew this was coming, because I saw the tweet about it. I was like, "Oh, we get to talk about Garganacl this week. This is gonna be great."
Well, that's the thing, is he put that tweet out after like last week where he played it. Yeah. And so I was not expecting him to bring it again.
Just run it back. What's the problem? Yeah, Stealth Rock, Salt Cure, Recover, Protect. Like this team is looking to stall you out, and it is
Stealth Rock is so funny. It's so funny, man, because like hit him with the Stealth Rock. Now, when you hit him with the Salt Cure, if they switch out, they're taking damage on the switch-in.
Exactly.
Like, it's genuinely so funny.
You get to set up Dondozo, you got Yawn and Curse and Liquidation and Leftovers, and that's so much fun. You got Aurora Veil, Terra Ice, Blizzard, Never Melt Ice, Ninetales, Alola. Like, you are going to be dealing damage with that Pokemon regardless of what's sitting in front of it.
AV Ensign as well, so you can just like again take a billion hits. Like this team
Who
is so
needs
funny,
to pivot
man.
when you have Drain Punch?
Drain Punch Ensign is so funny. It's so funny to me. I don't know why.
We don't even see that often anymore. We saw it in like Sword and Shield days a little bit, like looking for like Max Knuckles and stuff, but it fell off so quickly because Parting Shot was so good.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing it here over like U-turn is great. Again, that pairs really well with the coaching Sneasler being able to boost your Incineroar.
Yep.
That's really, really good. Coaching on your Dondozo is also really good. That's something I've been very, very popular fan of here lately on my teams when I was playing solo Dozo. Just like having the extra, just like, oh, I'm going to go +2/+2 on my attack and defense this turn. I don't know what you're going to do about it. Have fun. And then we've got this Power Gem, Terra, Steel, Make It Rain, Choice Scarf, Golden Go, just looking to pick up KOs. I love it. Love this team. I heard something about a Mudshot Cyclizar.
74th place. You beat me to it.
I knew that was coming because I knew there was a Dondozo Cyclizar team running around.
No, here's the funny part. I hadn't even clicked on the team. I was just looking at the 6. I'm like, that's a Zoroark and a Cyclizar. Hold on.
You had talked about seeing random stuff on Twitter, and I saw this one on Twitter.
That's so funny. This team is so wild. I love this.
So this is doing a lot of the standard Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Palmot fun stuff. One of the cool things that this team used to do is you have Cyclizar doing like Shed Tail stuff next to it, so you can just like Shed Tail into your Dondozo, which picks up the Tatsugiri, which then gets put behind a substitute.
What's even better about that is because Tatsu is Choice Scarf, it gets to attack first, and then it goes into the sub. Like
you can Icy Wind into Shed Tail into Bring My Dondozo, enter the sub, eats my Tatsugiri.
Block your attack.
Touch it. Yeah. You can't touch it. The other cool thing is like the Zoroark tech is super duper cool because you have to respect, like, you could lead like Dondozo as your Zoroark and threaten the Tatsugiri switch in for Commander, and they have to play around that.
They have to respect it being a Dondozo, and instead they get hyper voiced.
And then they get hyper voiced. So that's really, really cool. I like the Grimmsnarl. Assurance is not something I thought about playing on my Grimmsnarls at all.
Man, double attack Grimmsnarl is not something I think I've seen in ever.
So you don't need the screens on this team.
No, absolutely not. It makes a bunch of sense here.
You have 2 open slots on your Grimmsnarl since you're not playing screens. And so you get to play Spirit Break and Assurance and kind of be this offensive style Grimmsnarl still. with Parting Shot and Thunderwave. This is cool. I might actually work on this.
Are we pivoting?
We might pivot to this because I have most of this ready to rock and roll. I just gotta go find a Cyclizar and a Zoroark.
They gave out a Zoroark, didn't they?
Ah,
There was some event for one. I think I have an event ball Zoroark.
I have no clue.
There was something we kind of touched on last week on the pod was the rise of Weavile in this format, and there's unironically a ton of Weavile here. I think I've seen
I saw two at 62 and 63.
I think there's 3 or 4 in day 2 from what I've seen.
There's one at 41. Is that the highest placed one?
I believe so.
We'll just click on that one. Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I know there's 2 versions, 2 iterations of this team, and then another one that's fairly similar, if I remember correctly. Weavile Rain was the other one, so.
yeah. So, I could see this just, being the next big thing, honestly. Knock off, fake out, icy wind, beat up. It fits everything that this team's wanting to do.
I really feel like I want Protect on Weavile, but man, I don't know what
What's outspeeding you that you are scared of?
Opposing fake outs.
But you just Terra Ghost, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but then you have to Terra your Weavile.
I mean, if my Weavile is eating fake out plus close combat or something, and I Terra Ghost and I get to dodge all that, that's pretty good for me.
That is true, but at the same time, who's ever clicking that in front of a Weavile that's Terra Ghost that hasn't Terra'd yet?
How fast is Weavile compared to Sneasler?
I believe it gets to 189, 198. It's insanely fast. I want to say 198.
Weavile's base 125. Sneasler is 120. So you literally have no fake outs to worry about. There are no fake outs to worry about because you are naturally faster than Sneasler.
I'm curious about actual stat number. 194. I was so close. I'm mad at myself.
So yeah, that's why you don't play Protect. You don't care. You don't have to worry about it. And you're going to fake out first. You are going to move first on your fake out pretty much every single time. Outside of some magical land where it's Tailwind or Unburden and the terrain's gone. Is this the first Rillaboom we've talked about today?
Man, Rillaboom's not even fun to talk about.
I feel like Rillaboom, for having 30% day 1 meta share, is just we didn't see
It didn't have a single copy in top 8.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is the first Rillaboom we've talked about today. Rillaboom on Fraud Watch. Watch out.
It didn't have a single copy in top 16.
Where's the first Rillaboom at?
17.
Yep, 17.
That is
That's
insane.
Where it's at. Huh.
I did not expect that.
Rillaboom on Fraud Watch.
Someone check in on Rillaboom tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Need to keep an eye on that. Yeah. That's also, funnily enough, the first Grimmsnarl, too.
Yeah, I did not even think about that till you just said that. I just hadn't even thought about it. Team's cool.
Yeah. Dragapult, Como-O, Rillaboom.
Disabled Dragapult.
Yeah. So this is something I've been seeing more often is this, these kind of supporty Dragapults with just big Draco Meteors.
Let's see, we have T-Wave.
So you can get guaranteed poisons. Yeah, you can get guaranteed poisons with Glamora. And then cool. Dragapult's Hex is a 120 base power special Ghost move.
Yeah, who needs Shadow Ball when you have just
boosted Hex?
Ghost type Draco.
It's actually really cool. So yeah, that's a lot of cool stuff. There's some cool synergies there. That's pretty neat. What else did I want to talk about? There's another team I saw. I saw the Sorrel Edge at 23rd. That one was kind of cool.
That's nothing new though.
Yeah, this is kind of cool.
There's a Murkrow at 20, but again, we've talked about Murkrow 100 times at this point.
There's a Vivillon at 28. We talked about Vivillon a dozen times.
I think the first Primarina is at 32.
There is an Obama Snow at 39.
I did see that.
That is neat.
What
is it doing?
Also,
just normal stuff.
There's a Kanto Arcanine at 36.
Now that might be worth clicking. It is Mirror Herb Arcanine.
That's wild.
That's actually kind of cool.
Nice Defiant boost, idiot.
You know what's great? It's just like you get to click the extreme speed button after that, and you're just wrecking people.
So, does Mirror Herb copy their final stat, or does it copy their stat?
It copies the boost. Whatever the boost is so what it copies.
It would get +2 off of a Defiant boost?
Yes.
So even though Defiant they end at +1, because the boost is +2, that's what you copy.
Yes.
Wild.
It copies the stat it copies the stat raises of whatever.
How does that work if multiple stats are boosted at once? Does it copy all of them?
It copies any stat changes for that turn. So if they got an Omni boost, you'd get the Omni boost.
Interesting.
If they do a nasty plot, I believe that you just get nasty plot. Like there's ways to work around Mirror Herb and consume it in a way that's like not beneficial.
It doesn't copy stat drops though, right?
No.
It's just increases?
Yes.
Wild. Imagine just getting +1 speed off of a scale shot. Like,
yep.
Wild.
I've had really cool. Many a Tauros Aqua get random special attack boosts.
Idiot.
What else do we got down here? Another Sun team. There's a Bronzong and a Charizard. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's basically Joe's team, but with a Bronzong on it.
And an Ursaluna.
Joe had Ursaluna, didn't he?
Nope. He had a Garchomp in his ground slot instead.
Ah, okay. Salaman's down here at 71.
There's a Sylveon at 50. Talking about fairy types.
I did see that. We can talk about Emilio real quick.
Hey, look. It's the Terra Fire Specs Terra Blast Sylveon.
Cool. Oh, there's Emilio Forbes was down here at 59. Also had a Sylveon. Was it also way different team comp though?
Yeah, I'm about to say. Was it the same team? It was like that.
Fairy Feather, Terra Fire. Yeah.
This one's Choice Specs.
Yeah, they're Fairy Feather versus Choice Specs. So
which respect on the Choice Specs Hyper Beam. Like
we're sub Hyper Voice Terra Blast Protect.
That's neat.
I don't like sub if I don't have like passive recovery next to like Rillaboom.
Yeah.
Because there's no Rillaboom here. We're also Super Fang Maushold, which I love.
So it was 59?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
That's kind of where I'm at.
It's like if you get Sylveon behind a sub, it's like cool. That's actually really good, but just like it feels kind of
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. Looking at this team, there's like nothing inherently wrong with this 6.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's fine.
I like this version of the Scale Shot Dragonite. It has extreme speed. It at least has a different damaging move,
which I will agree. I do like. But I don't know.
Mostly because you can pair this next to the Coaching Annihilate, and you can get boosts that way.
I don't know if E-Speed's the right move on these Scale Shot Dragonites, though. Maybe it's just like
the reason you have E-Speed is because you have the coaching on. You have the Coaching Annihilate. That's why you have E-Speed.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the only reason why. Man, otherwise, that would probably be any other move.
Go for coaching, then Scale Shot, then next turn E-Speed them.
Yeah.
Get bopped. Man, I'm not really seeing anything else I want to touch on. A
Yeah,
few Volcaronas here and there. There's another Palafin here at 7-4.
that's cool.
Oh, hold on. 75.
75.
There's a second Zoroark.
There's a Zoroark and a Charizard and a Farigiraf.
Seems cool. It's like,
That's neat.
yeah, you're just Sunroom, but you have this Zoroark mode too.
I like the sunroom stuff with the Zard as like an option.
I like that you can bluff Zoroark by being ursaluna and just hyper voicing them.
Yes, that was a popular thing early on. Was just like, are you Blood Moon or are you Zoroark? You're doing a lot of damage regardless.
Either way, you're getting clapped.
But you can fake out one and not the other.
Correct. Yeah, this is unironically, this is like some best of one stuff that I would play.
Yeah, this
like,
feels very best of one.
Not saying there's anything wrong with this team. Like,
but it
obviously, Daytude's like
the
team itself is very cool. But yeah, this definitely, like, Choice Scarf Charizard makes me feel best of one. Like, just random Choice Scarf item.
Yeah, feels very, very best of one-y.
Mm-hmm. Cool team.
Okay. There's a Klefki at 94, but we're getting into the late stuff now.
Yeah, 94, that's 5-3 territory, right?
Yeah.
96, there's a Malamar Zoroark. Okay, hold on. We had to talk about the Malamar
okay.
team.
I know this one.
Yeah, we had to talk about the Malamar Noivern team. I saw this. I think I saw this at Louisville. This was on stream or something. I remember seeing this. And I'm pretty sure it was at Louisville I saw this. And Hunter and I were talking about it, and just like, man, this team is so cool. And he goes, this team is so ass.
Yeah. So a lot of the fun stuff with this one is just like telepathy, boom burst, fun stuff there, soundproof, Terra Ghost. There's a lot going on here that's really, really cool. Next to the Terra normal boom burst toxicity.
What the hell does Topsy Turvy do?
It reverses the stat drops and buffs on a Pokemon.
Sure, man.
So if you
can Draco Meteor Topsy Turvy and now have a +2 Noivern.
Yeah. or the more probable use is for things like Nasty Plot, Dondozo, which Dondozo doesn't really care, but getting rid of them is going to help mean it's not doing a ton of damage to you. You can do like the other cool thing is like you could do like side fake tiers into your Malamar
and just make it so bulky that like you go fake tiers and then superpower, and now you're +1/+1/+2 special defense.
Yeah,
wild. This is something I've seen like once in the format. I wanted to day 2 so bad. I love this team idea.
Sounds like Carter has his next team.
Probably not. I think I'm probably done like team building in this format, but this team is wild.
Yes.
This is the kind of stuff that had I seen this a week before Louisville, I would have been telling you to build this and you would have been trying to talk me out of it nonstop.
Oh yeah, 100%. Mostly because it would have been a nightmare for me to acquire all this stuff.
Not only would it be awful to build, but it would also be just like atrocious to play, I think. Like inherently I don't think this team is good, but I think it's funny. So like this is a team that had I not had a team for an event, I would play something this goofy.
Yeah. All right. Are we done now?
I think so. You want to have Jay do the outro?
Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you guys also like and subscribe. Go check out the Blue Sky. You can also check out the Twitter to follow us over to Blue Sky and follow us over there. Come and hang out in the Discord community. And then also make sure you guys check out the Discord and Patreon supporters links below as well. With that, that has been the episode. See y'all next week. Peace out.
Cool.
One of these times I'm going to do that. I'm going to call him first.
We're just not gonna have an edited one. just be straight.
It's gonna be Jay on the phone being picked up by the mic doing it.
That'd be hilarious.
All right, this is a fun one. It's always a blast to have you on again.
It's always fun. Yep.
So, I am ready for bed.
I have to edit this episode.
Yeah, it'll be nice and simple. There's not a whole lot to do on this.
Like I said, I told you earlier, I'm probably just going to do it all in Riverside from now on. It makes it easy.
Yeah, I can imagine so. So, I think that's it. I think we're good. All right, everyone.
I can't think of anything else.
Thank you so much. As always, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Peace.